Well, good evening, Internets. It's me, DP Knudten, for another edition of Bookward Bound, my 301-day journey from I should really do this to done. And what am I talking about getting done? Well, I'm finishing up this book. This is a proof, a galley proof that you see before you, which says nicely on the front, not for resale. But this is what I'm going through right now with a fine-tooth comb to make corrections, because I'm going to upload the final files for this thing to Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing on Friday. And that means this book is going to be ready for publication and purchase via Amazon in just a few days. And that's kind of blowing me away, because I've been working on this thing for 299 days since 299 days since Friday, March 6th of earlier this year. That was the deal I made with myself and to you, that I was going to work on this book every single night in front of your very eyes, in real time, in real life, and I've kept that promise. With the exception of 2 days where I had Lyme disease and a fever of 103 degrees, I've been down here every night working on the book, moving it forward in one form or another for 299 days. That's crazy to me. But anyway, so what am I doing? I'm working on that final proofing that I talked about. And what does final proofing look like? Well, it looks something like this. So you can see I've got the pages here. I'm actually going to focus on one page at a time and make changes. So as I've been going through the book, I've been noticing things like this where, you know what, it should be like that. It could have gone either way, but why? Because he's demonstrated as a Richard Moore like that under his own name, Richard Moore, blah, blah. Okay, so I need to try to get this 2, 3, 4. And that's even smaller than that, I bet. Because I want to get this last line, and I got it. Okay, good. So that's cool. But I had some other changes in here. 73 lessons. And I led with that. And it was like a footnote by Richard Moore. Big mistake, because what happened? Go on down the page a little bit. How I was able to get really good traction. What I've learned thus far and how I was able to get really good traction. I said change that to single quote instead of double, because I'm quoting with inside a quotation. Here's a product I bolted. And they're like, cool, let's. So, hey, everybody, I bolted on, yep. And they're like, cool, yada, yada. Move down to this paragraph. LinkedIn, period, cap F. For instance, comma, how many times have you seen a post space? Moving on to the next page. I'm an authentic person. B-I. Can I size this picture up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. B. Up. And then size it up. 10% bigger. I might be able to go 15. So let's do that. So let's go bigger than that. I'm just working this up a little bit at a time because I want to get it as big as I can, but I don't want to blow it. Let's just see if I don't want it to blow off into the next page. It looks like it fits. Squinting to see if it sits on the page well. Yeah, I think it does. Ding, ding, ding. $233. Actually 230, so let's see. There, so 230 divided by 52 equals 4. To 30 weekly and consistently for over 4 years. 4 years. I don't need it. 4 years. The episode shown here is typical. He generously shares a lot of valuable content. Wherever his audience of questioners go. The value. Demonstrate his smarts and savvy and inspire his audience to become active members of his community of like-minded. The value he adds to every episode is like making a consistent deposit in the bank of goodwill and goodwill with every one of his viewers. With every person. How about with every person? Every person watching. He provides value. How about we get rid of that sentence altogether? Because it's a little bit redundant. Okay, look at the upper right corner. Of the image. See that graphic? Right. That looks good. Moving on to Kate. Okay, I'm going to read this whole thing because I made significant changes. There's a reason I call Kate Toon the Sultana of SEO. there a different name? If Sultana diction. Queen. Sovereign. How about sovereign? Though I like it to be sovereign of SEO. There's a reason I call K2 the sovereign. Sovereign. Souverain. Oh, that's the niche downhill upon which she planted her standard years ago. After a successful career with a major advertising agency, she went rogue and set up SEO copywriter and consultant. Format picture. Size and position. Text wrapping. It's too much. And just move it up like that. Haha. You bet it. Actually, I think I want to crop this. Went rogue and set up as an SEO copywriter and consultant in Sydney, Australia. But after a past of years focusing on that pretty specific niche, she was looking for other opportunities in the digital marketing space and wanted to embrace them without changing the point upon which she's pivoting. Personal brand. She puts it this way. La 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 la. I'm gonna try to get that a little bit condensed. Take that word up and put it on the sentence above. Via words crummy 0.25. Yeah, it's crummy character controls. One with it. I gotta read. Yeah. The thing about one thing that's changed in the last year is that I've stopped looking outward to my competitors, which is something I've wasted years on. You know, so and so's doing this. Sue's got a beautiful Instagram feed, period. Let's make that period. Sue's got a beautiful Instagram feed. I need a beautiful Instagram feed, you know. Janine has produced this amazing lead magnet. Same. It's just so much wasted time. You fall down the rabbit hole of comparison, and it's never good. It's not competitive research. It's soul destroying, beating yourself up. I really tried to stop looking and instead just look to my customers, because now I have a little groundswell of humans in the Tune gang, period. I can say, hey, what should I do next? Hey, what should I do next? Here are 3 things I'm thinking about doing. Which would you be more interested in? And they'll go, that one. It's not a pre-sale, but it's more like you're warming your audience. And you know, I've talked to you before about how I try to make these as decisions based on will it make me money? Do my customers want it? Will I enjoy it? Because I'm an emotional person, and you know, I think I have a lot of empathy and sympathy. My empathy gland is throbbing constantly, and that can be quite exhausting. So unless I'm kind of into the thing that I'm doing, I find it quite hard to keep going with it. Let's see if we shrink those up by condensing the type just a little bit. I'm going to condense it by 0.25, and it worked. Hooray. And that's how it is for me with the SEO side of things. I've been working this space for a long time, and it's like Britney Spears coming out on stage and singing Toxic again. She'll get to the point where she would rather stick a fork in her leg than ever sing Toxic again. She needs to be able to pivot away and release her new album of acoustic tambourine folk songs, and hope that people will follow her because they love Britney, not because they love Hit Me Baby one more time. It's hard though. I'm sure there's a strategy behind my pivot, and I'm not sure. Let's do this. Sorry. Condense the type while you can. Condensed 2.5. Wait a minute. That didn't do it. It didn't do it. I know what I can do. Let's do it that. Condense the line above to get because up on the previous line. Condense it. 0.25. Hey, that worked. It's hard though. I'm not sure there's a strategy behind pivot, and I'm not sure it's going to be a hairpin turn. It's going to be more of a lazy arc. She says she's not being strategic, but I beg to differ. Kay was 100% strategic when she began working for herself by specializing in teaching people how to master search engine optimization, SEO. She did what everybody who coaches people about digital marketing recommends. She niched down pretty darn far to retrieve the riches and the niches that Pat Flynn talks about. After several years of mining that high-value vein, she strategically recognized her interest in it wouldn't last forever, so she explored around for a new vein worth exploiting. Worth exploiting. With mining. But, and this is the most strategic part, before she lifted a finger and spent a farthing, she queried her crew on what they'd be most interested in learning, buying from her. Only then did she build these other profit centers within the business. As you can see from the extended quote above, she's totally come to terms with the fact that there is no her business name without her. Unlike Jay Baer and others in this book who have created businesses from the get-go with the intention of selling them down the road, Kate's realized that what she's building is all hers with the goal of it remaining all hers. And remember, the foundation of nonfiction branding all comes down to a simple 2-sentence credo. Know who you are so you can be it. Kate's clearly internalized that into her and her several businesses' DNA. And if you ask me how Kate's become the Sydney-based success story she is, I'm going to point to that. Kate's business is her business. I'm going to point to this. Kate's business is her business. Since her initial service offering focusing tightly on the mastery of SEO, she's been able to branch out into several different but related areas. But no matter different yet related areas. But no matter what the subject matter is, it all comes back to her and her personal brand. Her and her personal brand. She's the epicenter for everything, and now her well-defined personal brand is the point upon which she pivots. That's because, like any well-developed foundation, her personal brand has little to do with the technique, what she does, and everything to do with the way she does it. Her wit, her style. Has little to do with what she does and everything to do with the way. Has little to do with what she does, everything. Her wit, her style, her self-effacing sense of humor, her take no prisoners, all-in engagement with those who'd like to cross swords with her. These are all aspects of who she is and elemental ingredients of her personal brand. And that brand is so integral to her service and educational offerings that I just had to ask her about the following I noticed that while your efforts, your products have names, they are all under the umbrella of the Kate Toon brand. Could they exist without having your fingerprints all over them? Could they exist without you having your fingerprints all over them? I think not. Am I right? Kate, I've always wondered about that because people talk about businesses like, how are you going to exit your business? How are you going to sell your business? And it was very freeing for me when I had a guest on my podcast called Australian Business, Australian Coach. when I had a guest on my podcast, Australian business coach, Tina Tower, and she said, I'm not building a business to sell. I'm building a business to make as much money as I'm able to make comfortably for the period that I'm running my business. And then when it ends, it ends. I did have someone actually approach me to buy part of the recipe for SEO success, and I feel that to some degree I could edge out of it. I could bring more experts into the course. I could maybe get every second episode of the podcast hosted by somebody else. But do I want to do that? I'm not sure. Do I want to sacrifice my brand equity and who I am and what I've built just for a bit of money to get someone else in? Because it wouldn't be the same. I don't necessarily want to do that. Period. That's where no, they're all named silly things because that's really as useful from a SEO point of view. No, I don't think they could exist without me, and I've finally come to terms with being happy about that. When I decide to switch it all off, switch it off. Just as there can be no separation between you, the person, and you, the brand, for people like Kate, there's no business that could possibly be sold to someone else. That's the very definition of a fully personalized, personal brand-based business. And based that Kate knows this informs every decision she makes. The business's tone is her tone of voice. Tone of voice is her tone of voice. And the person you hear on podcasts and see in online video, in her online videos, is exactly the same person you'll meet in public. And that's the very real, completely aligned definition of a non-fiction brand. The non-fiction brand moral of the story: where Kate chooses to take her business can pivot in any direction, but the pivot point upon which she rotates never moves. I wonder if I can do this. Let's not take that. Never moves. That point is inalterable because it's defined by the woman herself. And while the structure and services may change, her core values, brand foundation, and personality never will. Never. Can or will. And while the structure and the services may change, her core values, brand foundation, and personality never will. Never will. I don't need that tortured. Never will. There we go. Dawn Stanley. Moving on to my friend Dawn. Hello, Dawn. Dawn Stanley, you're looking very good there, I'd say. Oh, I must. Dawn Stanley, teach what you know, show how you know it. When you're an instructor at a major anniversary, blah, 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 social media agnostics, la, 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 la. What? Your brand. Live streaming. That's where live streaming does stuff. even if you're quiet. That's where live streaming, creating content that allows you to demonstrate your brand, even if you're quiet and introverted, allows you to demonstrate your brand, even if you're quiet and introverted. Yes, if you're super, yes, comma. If you're super extroverted, if you're a speaker, if you're a knitter, whatever, absolutely. That doesn't make any sense. Absolutely, you can, and that's the beauty of what you're talking about, DP, is that going and doing that as part of your brand shows somebody who's thinking about hiring you that I'm not going to motivate them. I'm looking at some of the things, blah. This is where I'm trying to decide what platform worked for her. At one of his live presentations, I heard Don tell a story. He told a story. Moving on. Bing. Great. Get that all together. So this or this type of medication for this for this specific condition. You know, he started pitching his belief and idea. Let's go. Student started pitching their belief and their idea on the right medication for the dog. And I said, do you see what you're doing right now? You're trying to sell me on a veterinary solution. And I'm like, wait a second. You just that you just told me that marketing is about trying to convince people to do things that aren't. Does in fact work. Keep up the good work. That you just proved does in fact work. Boom, 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 boom. All right, Leah Rowe. And laughs, question mark? You know that old Yiddish saying, man plans and God laughs? Unfortunately, that applies to brand new mothers in the midst of their long planned and HR approved maternity leaves, as Leah Rowe found out shortly after the birth of her first child. Just imagine your first lip. What was the inciting incident? Housing bubble burst. Nobody was getting a job, so it's safe. Organization. Here in People Ops. Wasn't the path. Leah's or to put her and focused on the business area. Condensed by 0.25. Okay. Professional goals. And enable to businesses to help and to enable businesses to optimize their culture and encourage, support, and empower their employees. Moving down. In fact, such chutzpah thrilling, out there. Oh, no. Early March. And occurs yearly. Doesn't matter. In early March. And it occurs yearly in early March. California. Australia. Australia. That's how I met the Australian Austins. Instagram is the primary style stage on which their personal and small business demonstrate. Their fewer, better focus, And that's not to say they don't occasionally drop a few personal tidbits. Here's just one. Oh, it's never said. Stumble upon your feeds. Hang around. Get at least a flavor of them. Poke around their feet. Poke around a bit. Poke around a bit. You'll find. Proves it. And they are, which Instagram continually proves, right before your very eyes. And there's nothing better than making it easy for people to recognize you. Put your face, your name. The internet. Smear their opinions. Me. Is tired. Statistics. Third line down. We didn't completely agree about. That's fine. A. That's what. It's a kind of marketing. It's kind of that marketing is a test. Marketing is a test of generosity. How about that? Oh, no, let's leave it. Kind of. Leave it. Yeah. But 250. And the marketer wins. Dun, 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 dun. We are almost done. Almost. All right, so yep, that's correct. So that'll be a left read page or a right read page. Big things are going to happen when say they're going to. Be about it. £1 dumbbell. 8,000. Just over 78,000 words. Think. I think you can guess what. Oh. It was a face every day taunting me. Yep. A writer by trade. I don't know. Contact. Find some more. Visit. Contact. 259. Okay, so let's see. Let's say left read, or right read, left read, right read, left read. Another page or two. All right. I'm actually going to quit out of that so I don't make a mistake and, accidentally punch a keyboard and put in a character in a place where I didn't want it to be. I have gone through this bad boy one step at a time with a fine-tooth comb, looking for ways to make it flow better. It was a combination of editing and proofing. I've been through every page, and here's the thing. As perfect as I try to make this, I know there are going to be some imperfections in there. And it's going to kill me when I get the inevitable email saying, hey, dude, you did this the wrong way or whatever. But that's the cool thing about Kindle Direct Publishing. I can go in and make revisions at any time and upload new files for the guts of the book at any time. And I have in the past at 3 a.m. in the morning when I discovered or 2:30 in the morning when I discovered a mistake. Because that mistakes are in here, I understand. But if I know there's a mistake in here and I haven't corrected it, that will drive me crazy. So anyway, enough about that. This book, I have one more day. Tomorrow night, I'll be going through this book again, looking at kind of the meta issues, how the pages are flowing. I'm going to look at them with a kind of 20,000 foot view to see how they look on multiple pages, and do that final, because I think what I'm going to do is actually upload the files early on Friday. Why? Friday's the first of the new year. And I'm going to have a new book for 2021 because I made a harebrained promise to myself and to you that I was going to come down here and work on a book for 301 days. Tonight was episode 300 or 299. Tomorrow will be 300, and Friday will be 301 when I actually upload the files. So what a journey it's been. And it hasn't been all fun either, let me tell you. Getting Lyme disease in the middle of it and missing 2 nights, that didn't make me happy. But it's what happened. I was able to make up the time necessary. I've got a book that I hoped would be 250 pages. It's coming out to 259. I hoped it would be right around 80,000 words. It's coming out to 78,000 words and change. So by taking an approach, a strategic approach, to take one small bite out of the elephant every single day for 301 days, that elephant is getting eaten. And not to torture this analogy too much, that elephant is going to be reserved up on Kindle Direct Publishing on Friday, the 1st of January, 2021. Wow. I'm DP Knudten for the Nonfiction Brand podcast, which comes out every single Monday. In fact, you can listen to episode number 123, which came out on Monday. Today's Wednesday, so that was 2 days ago. And it features an interview with Oliver Bridge. He goes by Ollie. So Ollie Bridge of Bonjoro.com. And we talked about how Bonjoro is this really cool personal video service that can actually allow you to very easily, with very little friction, do personalized videos and get them to people via their email box in a way that really boosts your personal brand and creates relationship. Because any smart salesperson knows if you have a choice between transaction and relationship, always go for a relationship, because a relationship can lead to a multitude of transactions. Anyway, that's available wherever you get your podcast for free. Just search Nonfiction Brand. Look for this image, my black and white photo, and the words Nonfiction Brand stacked exactly like you see there, because that is, in fact, the cover art for the podcast. And if you see that, you'll know you got the right one. That's it for me tonight. I'll be here tomorrow night for the last nighttime live stream, because the one on Friday is going to happen probably in the morning, because I want to get this book up there as early as I can on the 1st of the new year, because that was my goal. And once that goal's done, I can let my hair down a little bit. I can relax. I can actually not do something. I can watch a movie during the week. Can you imagine that? How cool would that be? It'd be very cool. Anyway, that's it for me tonight. I want to thank you for being part of my peer pressure posse that keeps me honest by actually coming down here and working on this thing. And thank you for that. Seriously. I couldn't have done it without you, because I would have been embarrassed had I not come down here. So I guess the peer pressure worked. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow. But until then, theme music, take us on out. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.